Okay, so today I think we are going to look at the responsive web design, and then um, so far we've managed to reach this place. We've finished with the CSS grid, and then we are going to look at the media queries and the responsive unit, right? Okay, so let's dive in. So what is responsive web design? Mm-hmm. Responsive web design is about creating web pages that look good on all devices, right? If you remember the last time we explained about this, this meta what tag, right? And then I talk about the initial scale, right? And talk about the width of the devices, right? Okay, so because of this help us help the browser to adjust itself in different screen sizes. You understand? Without this, whenever you create something, the browser cannot adjust itself. You understand that? So that is why normally we add this meta tag here. You understand? So look at here. It says a responsive web design will automatically adjust for different screen sizes and viewport. You understand? Best experience for all users is web pages can be viewed with many different devices. We have desktop, we have tablets, and we have mobile phones, right? Your web page should look good and be easy to use regardless of the device. Don't say that because you are developing on a desktop, then you might ignore the viewport or the view on the tablet or on phone. Definitely all of them should look good. Your design should look good in all the devices. Responsive web design is about using HTML and CSS to automatically resize, hide, shrink, or enlarge a website to make it look good on all devices, right? Look at resize, hide, shrink, or enlarge a website. The key components in responsive web design are the viewport meta tag, right? The viewport meta tag, which is this, which one? This one. The viewport meta tag, this, right? So this one is very important. And then flexible layout, right? Which we did with what grid and flex, right? And then the third one is media queries, which we are going to do that in the meantime. Media queries. So the best word or the key component in responsive web design are these three things. First of all is what to have the viewport meta tag, which we have it here. And the second one is what in the CSS you have flexbox and grid. So it is up to you to use what that flexbox and grid to make the viewport responsive or to make your screen responsive. And the third one is what? Media queries, right? So this is an example that they give you, like this one is desktop. And look at how the elements are arranged, right? But when it comes to the tablet, it changes. So what changes? This, while it was arranged here in this like a column, it comes here as what? As a row. Understand? Because when it is for a tablet, it is small. So this one cannot what be fit into what a tablet. So it has to be horizontal. But when it comes towards the phone, this one also what move ahead, stretch itself, right? So that's why responsive design is what important. So let's continue. Which device should responsive web design account for? Which devices should responsive web design account for? I already mentioned those devices.
Oh, we should the third one.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's continue. Move to these ones. I know it's the same thing. I don't want to waste time in the code challenge because it's simple. You can just do it at home. So we move to. Okay, so now responsive web design, the viewport. So now we are looking at the viewport, right? We said in order the responsive web design has three key points, right? Or three key components. The first one is the viewport, right? The second one is the flexible, the grid and then flex. And the third one is media query. So we are looking at the viewport now. Setting the viewport is the user's visible area of a web page, right? So we always talk about viewport. So now you know the definition. So when I ask you what is the viewport, you say that, oh, the viewport is what? The user's visible area of a web page where the user sees, the visible area that the user can see. For instance, the way you are using your PC or your laptop, what you see on the screen, the viewport that you can be able to see is what we call viewport, right?
Yeah.
So now if someone asks me what is viewport, I can say, for me, my viewport is what I can see on my laptop,
Mm.
right? Because I'm the user, I'm using the laptop, so I'm the user. So what I can see visible on my laptop is what my viewport, right? So that is why it is here. Method name, viewport. So all whatever we see, I can see here. For instance, let's say this one is our screen now because when we are designing based on this screen, right? Not on all this because this one is the our editor and this one is where we are designing into, right? So this is our viewport now. So if we decrease it, this is now our viewport. If we increase this like this is our viewport now. So understand it clearly. So that is our viewport. The viewport varies with the device. I understand. Will be a lot smaller or on a mobile phone than on a computer screen. So if it is definitely on a laptop, the viewport will be like smaller like this, right? But if it were to be on a desktop, it will be like this. You should include the following meta element in the head section of all your web pages, right? So what is the meta? Meta name viewport, right? And then we have the content, which will have the width device width, right? So the width of the device is what? Device width, right? And the initial scale is what? 1. This we have just explained it from the start, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so initially you have to have this. So what is the explanation of all this? I've already explained it, but let's go through once again. This gives the browser instruction on how to control the pages that control the scaling and this control the dimensions, right?
Mm.
The weight device weight part set the weight of the page to follow the screen weight of the device which will vary depending on the device. So this one you see here, it just sets the width of the page that you are so that it follows what with the device width. You understand? It follows what the screen width. For instance, as I told you here, when you reduce it, it follows. When you increase, it follows. So whatever you design here, when it is on mobile and you shrink it, the item inside follow, you understand, due to the viewport. And when you increase it, it follows. That is what it is saying here. The initial scale is part which set the initial zoom level, as I told you last time. Zoom level when the page is first loaded by the browser. So as I told you the last time, the normal is 1, which represents what? 100%. So here if you see 100%, it's like 1, right? So this one scale, initial scale is 1. So the normal or the initial view is 100%, which is 1, right?
Yeah.
So it all sets this one. So when you have your Google Chrome or whatever browser that you're using, when you check the zoom here, you see that this one is always 100% because the viewport or the scale here is always 1. Understand? But if here you change it, it will be different. You can control this one, but the default or the initial is always what? 100. Understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so here is an example of web page without the viewport meta tag and the same web page with the viewport meta tag. So see that here when we don't have that view this thing, when we don't apply this thing, this is how you see your what? Your screen on mobile.
Mm.
You understand? Now when you added the what? This thing, now do you look at how it looks? You understand? Because now it has adjusted, because you added this one, the browser has adjusted the screen so that you can see the image and the text. But when this one wasn't there, you see what you cannot even see the text here. You cannot even read it. And the
Yeah.
image remain the same. So that's why this method tag is important. So that is the first key point in what responsive design. Yes, sir. So the size control to the viewports. Users are used to scroll website vertically on both desktop and mobile device, but not horizontally, right?
Yeah.
So normally whatever we browse here, we normally don't go like this horizontal line. We always go what?
Hello?
Vertical. When we are browsing, we always go up. We are always scrolling.
Mm.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So we are all when we are browsing the net or the internet, we are always what? Moving up and down. I mean scrolling up and down,
Mm.
right? Not horizontal. We don't scroll horizontal, right? Unless maybe there is a container. But even if container is there, that container is within your viewport.
Mm.
You can see that's why you scroll it to the horizontal to slide something. But normally we browse internet going up and down. So if the user is forced to scroll horizontally or zoom out to see the whole web page, it result in a poor user experience. You understand? So the best way or the best scale is this. But if the user does what? Zoom out. If the user goes like this, it zooms out like what? It goes minus, minus. you see that the person cannot even see anything again. Can proper
Yeah.
what proper poor review. You understand?
Yeah.
So always that is why here it's always what 100%, so that all the screen will capture whatever it is inside all the content.
Mm.
Mhm. So some additional rules to follow. Do not use large fixed width elements, right? That is normally what we do. Like don't use fixed units, that's pixels, right? That's why we've already done that. I told you before. When we are doing responsive design, we don't use what fixed what units like pixels. It
Yeah.
is on a small area of uh, section that we normally use it, where we know that it wouldn't affect the width or the viewport of the that element. Then we can use it. But normally for responsive design, do not use what large fixed width elements. For example, if an image has a width wider than the viewport, it causes the viewport to scroll horizontal. You understand? So if I
Yeah.
have an image here which is bigger than this, right? If I have an image here and the image is bigger than this, it will add a scroll for me to scroll horizontally. You understand? Let me see if I can have an image. Maybe let's one image, and then let me see if I have an image. If I have an image, a bigger image. I don't know whether I can have bigger image. Uh, Maybe if I can have an image like this. Oh, here I have an image. This one image. Okay, so you see, I don't know whether you can see clearly here. Let's
Mm.
say I
Yeah.
have some like this, and I'll come here and say, not paste it. So here is what we are looking at. So the image is small, right?
Yeah.
So now it is good because you can see the image now. But when the image is bigger, and then when the image is bigger like this, here it wouldn't give you, normally if the image is bigger, it will give you a what? It will give you what? A screw here because the image is bigger than this.
Mm.
You understand? Uh-huh. This one will try to force itself. It wouldn't come out because it is responsive design here, right? So here it tells you that if the image has a width wider than the viewport, it causes the viewport to scroll horizontal, right? What happened? See, look at here. Down there, you see the I can scroll. You see that?
Yeah.
So that is what you're talking about. So you see that the image is bigger than the viewport. What I can see here is not my viewport. Here is not my viewport, but inside here is my viewport now, right? And this image is bigger. So because the image is bigger, it will give me what? This scrolling, this to be able to scroll. So it tells you that you have to note about all these things. And then do not use that what large image so that it will be bigger than the viewport.
Mm.
Always remember to adjust this content to fit within the width of the viewport. So you always have to adjust it to fit within the image, and to fit within, so that now you don't have to scrolling left and right because you have space here. You understand? So that's what you're trying to tell us. Okay. And the second one is do not let the content rely on a particular weight to render well. You understand? Do not let the content rely on a particular width to render well. Since screen dimensions vary widely between devices, because we have different screen wide sizes, content should not rely on a particular viewport within a viewport width to render well. And the third one, it says use CSS media queries to apply different styling for small and large screen. So that's what we are going to use, what we are going to do. So setting large absolute CSS width for page element will cause the element to be too wide for smaller device. Instead, consider using relative weight values, right? You don't use fixed, use relative what? Units, such as what? 100%, right? Also, be careful of using large absolute positioning value. Understand? It may cause the element to fall outside the viewport on a small device. So all these things you come to understand it when we are designing the website. So what does the viewport represent in web design? I just told you now.
The second one?
The second one, okay. Okay, that's correct. Okay. Okay, so now it comes to the grid view. So we are all looking at, we've managed to finish with this meta. So it's one of the key components in what responsive design, right? So that is
Yeah.
what we finished with. We even explained it before. So we've completed this. The second component is what? The flex or the grid, right? The flex or the grid. So what is grid view? Many web pages are based on grid view, which means that the page is divided into rows and what? Columns, right? A responsive grid view often has what? 6 or 12 columns, right? And will shrink and expand as you resize the browser window. I already showed you this one, 6 or 12 columns for the grid view. This one, I was showing it here. Where is the grid? This one, I think. Yeah, so this one, I was trying to edit this one. Grid, this is grid. I think it's this, yes, grid items. Yeah, so this one that I was trying to show you. So if I do like this, okay, it's this one. So this one is the grid. It has what? 12 columns that I put here. You understand? So the CSS is this grid item CSS. So this one is the CSS. Right? So what did I say? I said what? Display what? Grid template columns. What? Repeat how many times?
Wow.
12 times. And then give me one fraction, right? Using what? Column starts. So it always starts. So all of each one of them will start, right? So I have what? 12 columns. So that's why what it's talking about here. A responsive grid view often has 6 or 12 columns and will shrink and expand as you resize the browser's window. So if I resize it, it expands. If I shrink it, look at still what? Shrink. You understand? That's what he's talking about here. Right? So building a grid view, let's start building a grid view. first ensure that all HTML elements have the box sizing property set to border box. This makes sure that the padding, right, and the border are included in the total weight and height of the element. Because sometimes you might be designing a website and then if you don't use the box sizing as border box, the padding that you added and then the border that you added, the calculation will exceed what you expected. So normally, if you want all the total to be inside this the box sizing as border box, it will calculate the size. All of the padding will be included in the size, and the border will all be included in the width that you are going to set and the height that you're going to set, so that you will not have maybe some extra height or extra width. You understand? So always use box sizing. So mostly when people are designing a website, sometimes you see them here, they will come at the CSS like this, maybe at the above, then they will target the word. They'll target the main listing, and then you see star, right? And they will see they will see box sizing, and they will see border box. And here they see padding, they see 0, margin, and then they give 0. Understand? So look at when we did that, all of the padding and margin came 0. So now we have the natural the original size. And so now we have the original size. Understand? But if you leave it and you didn't do all these things, maybe like even if padding, you didn't make it 0, margin, you didn't set it to 0, by automatic, the web browser comes with its own margin. You understand? It has an already built-in margin. So for instance, if you delete this, you see that there's some margin. Meanwhile, you didn't add it. You didn't add them. You see at the top here, you see some small margin here. Right? You see here, there is small margin here. But we didn't add it. You understand? But automatically it is there. But when you don't want it, you just write padding 0, right? And then margin also, you make it 0. So all of this small white space will go. You understand? So that's why it's also important. So we add box sizing as border box. So we create a grid container with 5 grids: item, header, menu, content, fact, footer. So here is giving you an example of what it created. So here is a div. They have a class grid container, and they have the header. They have another div with menu, right? So this is container, this header, and this is the menu. And the last one, they have content, and they have facts in the footer, right? So if you are to look at this code, you can take it this way and say, okay, let's analyze it, or let's look at it, and then you can come and say, let's check this code, right? So we can just close this, and we want to check this. So this is the code, right? Is the grid container, the header. You see that this one is only there HTML. There's no CSS attached to it, right? We'll come here for the CSS and we look at here and it says So this is the CSS. So we add more. So we can take this, look at very long, right? It's simple. If you understand it, this one is very simple. It might look longer, but if you understand it, it's very easy for you. You come here and see, paste it here. So look at what we achieved, right? So you see how it look like. So because we see, because it is responsive, look at when we increase the width, we see we still what see all whatever what we see all the content.
Yeah.
You see when we if we shrink it, look at we still see the content. See, you see, we see. Understand? So let's say, for instance, if you are at this stage, you can say that this one is a mobile view. You see that it's still what look nice. You understand? But if it's weren't responsive, maybe this one might go outside, this one might go outside, this one might be somewhere. But you see, because it is responsive, why is it responsive? Because they use what grid, what display grid, and they use what template area, header, menu, main, fact, and footer, right? So we see how they have made it. And then border box, right? Or the header, H1, the menu, the what? The list, which is what the response, right? So this one is simple what responsive design procedure or process that you can follow or look at it and what you can take inspiration from it when you are also designing your website. We look at okay, they also use this, they use this, and then you can look at it. So drag and drop the correct property name to ensure padding and borders are included in the total width and height. Which one will you use? I just said it.
Box sizing.
Box size to border box. Understand? Box size to border box. Okay. So now we are going to media query, but though media query is also short, but I think, yeah, I think we can do the media query, right? Or you don't have time?
This is short.
Yeah, I think it's short. Let me, yeah, it's short. Yeah, I think we can finish it so that later we can continue with this. I just want to,
Okay.
even when we meet, I will repeat it again, but for now, I just want to just take you through. So CSS
Okay.
media query, what is CSS media query? It allows you to apply styles based on the characteristics of a device or the environment displaying the web page. You understand? So CSS media queries are essential for creating responsive web design, as we explained. So if you can remember, what are the three main components of responsive design? Now remember them?
We have viewport,
Viewports.
create view,
Okay, you can see, okay, flexbox and grid view, okay. And then third one is
media query.
media query. Okay, so this is the media query. You understand? So the two aspects, the other one, the flexbox, and then the grid view are the ones we did, the one that the assignment that I gave you. You understand? Also has the flexbox and the grid. And the last one is what? The media query. You understand? So the CSS media rules is used to add media queries to your style sheet. So this is what we use to add what? Add media query. You understand? Okay, we shall come to that. So let's look at it this way. I think I can even make it very simple for you to understand. Assuming I don't need this, I'm going to just create some tests. See, maybe I will say responsive design. Okay, responsive design. And then I'll create some paragraph. I have lorem, right? I have lorem inside. Well, add another lorem. Another lorem. Three of them. Okay, now I have three of them. So what can we do? This, delete this. Okay, so now this is our HTML, right? Now we are looking at media query. I'm looking at media queries, which is, we normally write it at media, right? So let's see, at media. So how do you normally do it? In responsive design, we have what? In our mobile phone, our laptop, or our desktop or tablet, we have different screen sizes, right? We have
Yeah.
different screen sizes. For instance, if I have to open my website here, C4W design, and I want to show something like I have some responsive viewport. Okay, so I'm using this extension, right? We call responsive viewer, right? So if I click on it, what happened? You see that I have different sizes, right? I have different screen sizes. So when I'm designing websites, I'll look at it in different sizes. So I have this size for a laptop or for bigger one screen, which is MacBook Air. And I have this one is for iPad Air 5, which is for tablets. And then I have this one is for iPhone 14 Pro Max, right? And I have what this screen size of Pixel 7 Pro. And the last one is for the iPhone 14 Pro, right? So this is how you're going to view your design in different screen sizes.
Mm.
You understand? So whenever you're designing a website, you always have to think about it. So all these things what we call responsive design. How you are going to design your website to look good in every side, every devices. You understand? You see that it looks similar in every device.
Yeah.
You understand? So that is what we call responsive design. Where did we go? What happened? Okay. So you see that now when we are at a smaller size, this is the mobile size. So here normally a lot of people try to add instead of designing all of this, or instead of designing all of this, because this has I think six screens. One, two, three, four, five. It has five screens in different sizes. So some people normally use three, right?
Mm.
Depending on this size. Maybe this is depending on the width, because normally we look at the width, not the height. Understand? We look at the width, right? So this
Yeah.
one is bigger. So some people use, let's see the screen. Okay, I think I have best three screen sizes. Oh, let's go. I think I have it last time. Normally we have different, we see each one 360 to 430 pixels for what? Mobile, right? 768 pixels for tablet, and then 128 or 1280 pixels to 144404 desktop. So between all these three, you can decide to choose which screen size you want. You understand?
Mm.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of people differ from this. But mostly we look at from maybe if you don't want to be in trouble, you can just start from 320 pixels, right? And then go to 600 pixels for tablet. And the last one, you can even go to 1400 pixels. You understand? Some go to like 1200 pixels or 1400 pixels. So mostly you can choose this what? This three to be a standard one. Because even in between those things, those you can have someone will have seven something, right? Someone will have 992 pixels. You understand? So even someone can have 460 pixels. So it depends. But normally, if you don't want to be in trouble with the screen size for mobile, you can manage to be from three to start from 320 pixels. You understand? And for tablet, mostly like 600 pixels is okay. 600, some use 800. And then for the desktop, maybe 1200 upwards. You understand? So these are the main three screen size. Sometimes we call it breakpoints. So let's see how it works. So for now, look at here. So how it works is like here, this is our website now, right? So this is our website, and we want to apply. Normally, let's say that we have um, H1 and P, right? So I could target here, say this is the body. Maybe a body, I can give it a background color of maybe, let me say I'll give it yellow, right? Okay, let me apply the CSS. It's not linked properly. Then I'll come in and say it's not responsive. Yeah, okay. So now I have my color to be what? Yellow, the body. And then I have H1. Maybe I'll say font size. Font size, maybe, okay, maybe font size 30 pixels, which is smaller, maybe 45 pixels. Okay, I can make it 45 pixels. And then I come down and said I want my paragraph to also have font size of 16 pixels, 20 pixels, right? You see it is bigger, right? Okay.
Mm.
Okay, so this is what I have, right? Okay. So now the responsive design is such a way that now if we reach a certain what, a certain breakpoint, right? If you reach a certain breakpoint, change whatever we have. So for instance, this one, we already have set this. So what does media query does? It changes the layout, it changes what the styles of whatever we already set. So how do we achieve that? We can add what? At media, right? Meaning we want media query. So we say at media, right? We say at media. So how do you add it? We say at media. If we have something to say, normally we add what? At media, and we said we add this bracket and we add what? Our curly bracket. So this is normally how we write it. You understand? What is inside here and what is inside here? Here, we add, right? Look at here.
We add what?
We add the size, the width that we want it to break because we are dealing with width, right? Not height. For the media query, because we browse in height, right?
Yeah.
Right? But our
Yeah.
devices are in width. because desktop is bigger than the what? The mobile phone. So the weight is what we are looking at. I understand. So we look at here, it said minimum weight, 600. So we say here, we say minimum weight, main weight, 600 pixels. And here you add whatever you want to add. You now continue with the normal, this CSS that you apply here. So mean whatever you apply here, based on this condition, the minimum weight, 600 pixels, whatever you add here will affect based on this 600 pixels. So let's see. Normally here, when you add media, you see some people write media screen. And like this. You add media screen. What is the name of what is the meaning of this screen? The screen is what? Your device screen. So it tells that I'm applying this, and this should target only the screen sizes of all devices. So if it's your device is the desktop, if your device is mobile, if your device is tablet, immediately you add this screen will target all what? The viewport or the screen size of your devices. But if here I say maybe not screen, I want print. If here I say print, this print means that when I'm using this and I want to print it. So for instance, this, or you normally know that sometimes you can have a website and then, for instance, I have a website. So when I'm browsing, I want to print this. So when I right click and click on print, you see this print. I click on this print, you see how it looks.
Yeah.
So this print is what will help out if I'm at 600. And if I want the print to change, maybe the color to change, it will change on that or at that section or at that 600 viewport. You understand? Okay. So now, for instance, here, but if here I didn't set anything, I just said media, it will what? It will target all of the screen, whether it is prints, whether it is screen, it will target all of them. So now sometimes people will write all. You can also write all like this. It means target all of them. But even if you don't write it, it still work. It still work the same thing. You understand? But
Yeah.
now what can we do for you to see what happens? So now look at it. Here is a normal view. We didn't set any pixels or any view size. We didn't set anything, right? So look at here when I come here and say, but the body should have a background color of blue. You see, it is blue. Why it is blue? Because when you say minimum means what? We look at the opposite side. Immediately you see the minimum weight means 600 and what above. So when you look at when you see something like mean weight and they say what 600 pixels, this 600 means 600 and above. And but when I say max weight, and I say like maybe also 600 pixels, meaning 600 and below. You understand? So this normally is what opposite. When you look at it, it's minimum weight and you see 600. It means that 600, it means break the screen at 600 and above. So 600 and above is when we even continue like this, it will still be blue. Why did you say? Because we said minimum weight 600, meaning 600 and above 600. So this weight here is above 600. So for instance, let me open these ones for you to see. So this, look at this. Here is what? 674, right?
Yeah.
So it is the width. We are not talking about this. This is height. We are not dealing with the height here. We are talking about width. Width is this is the width, right? So here is what? 807, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, 807. So let me close this so that I'll use the other one. 607, it is above this, right? So when I say
Yeah.
mean width 600 and above, it 800 is above and it's still above. It is more. That's why it is still blue, right? But, and I set the color to what? Blue, right? But
Mm.
initially, what is the body, the color of the body? It was yellow, right?
Yeah.
And because I set a condition, I said that when the size of the screen reaches what? 600 and above, understand? When it reaches what? 600 and above. So when you see mean weight means a number which is what? Above. A number in it above. So look at mean weight is 600 pixels, meaning 600 and above. So we always look at the opposite size, the reverse size. If you say mean what? Above. If you say what? Maximum, meaning below. You understand? So just put that in your mind. If not, it will always confuse you. Don't think that minimum is minimum. No. Minimum means more. Mean means 600 and more. Maximum means 600 and low. You understand? So here we
Mm.
put blue because we are at 600, right? So look at when I select this, when I come closer, just look at here. We are looking at what? Reducing it. Here, look at how this one reduces. It's reducing. It is 900. It is going 800. And it's going what? 700. It's going to what? 600. Look at. It's going. Just look at. Immediately it went down below 600. You see that the color changes, right?
Yeah.
When it is 600, just when it is 600, when it is exactly 600, it is what? Blue. And even it is more, it's still blue. But when
You
it is
set it
less
like that.
than, hmm?
You set it like that, right?
Yeah, we set it like here. You look at it. Here, the color, the normal color was what? Yellow, right?
Yeah.
So here we said at media. That's why I told you that it is like a breakpoint. So it means that the minimum weight at 600 pixels change the color to blue,
Mm.
right? So this is the body, right? This is the body. And the body is also here. The initial body has the background color of yellow. But when we set
Yeah.
a condition, so this is like a condition. When we set a condition using media query and say that at minimum weight, which is 600 and above, the background of the body should what? Should be blue. So that's what it is looking at this. So when you go down below what? Below 600, it turns to yellow, right?
Mm.
You see, it
Yeah.
turns to yellow. Uh-huh. So we can always use that to play along with different colors. So for instance, let's see, maybe I want to start from 320, right? Let's say I want to start with 320. I can also add another one. Maybe I can copy this. Okay, I can copy this and come down and see maximum. Since I want to go down, right? If I want to go down, I can see maximum and I can say 320. And I say that I want the background color to be different with this color. Or maybe I can be specific and say maybe let me specific and maybe say pink or maybe red color. Right? So look at what happened. So when I say maximum width, what does it mean?
Maximum width.
Wait, what does it mean?
Like the moment it reach 320
20.
pixels, then it should turn red.
It should turn red. But what does maximum means? Maximum means it is what? At 320 and below. So we are talking about max. So go reverse, right? So you see 320 and below. That is what max means. 320 and below. Here, maximum means. So 320 and below. So when you are there, you are 320 and below 320, the color should always be red. So let's see if it is true. So what are we? We are 328, meaning we are still we are yellow, right? So when we reduce it to 320 and below, what comes? You see the color has changed. So if I continue going down below 320, it will still be red. You see, it still be red, right? But when I try to increase it and above 320, it will turn into what? Back to what? Yellow, right? And when I go past 600 and above, it turns to blue, right? So here you can specify all of whatever you want. So based on that, you can use it to what? To adjust the screen size of your browser. For instance, if you are on smaller size, you say that, oh, on smaller size, I want this font to be smaller. So let's see, can we do that? Yes. So at smaller size, so first of all, look at how it is. So let's say I'm going 367, okay? And then I'm here, which I want what 320 and below to change. So I want this to change. What is it? It was H1. So I can add it again here. H1. The font size initially was 45. So I can reduce and say I want maybe 20. So I can say font size 20 pixels. So since I'm still inside this, and it means at 320 and below, the H1 font size should reduce to 20. So it was 45, but when I reaches 320, it will reduce to 20. So let's see. So see how big it is, right? And the width is 367, which is more than what? 320. So when I reduce it to be 320 and below, you see this font size will change. Let's see. 320 coming. And open. H1 font size. No, what happens? Let me some mistakes somewhere. Okay, you see. Okay, you see what happened? I didn't save it, that's why it didn't work. You see what happened? Just look, watch this number. We are looking at this number, 320 and below, right? So when I reach 320 and below, the font size, this H1, this is the H1. You see it is bigger, 45, right? But when I reach 320 and below, you see how it's going to look. Just look at it. Going down, going down, going down. What happened? You see this has turned
Become
into a 20,
small.
more like 20 pixels. Because I'm now at 320. And when I still go below it, you see I just still at 320. Understand? You see when I come bigger, you see. Okay. So that's why we normally look at responsive design, because sometimes you see that at bigger screen, this font size is good for bigger screen, right? But when you come for a smaller screen like mobile, because you don't want to make it bigger, you want it to be smaller, then it will turn it like this, right? We can do the same thing with this text tool. You can come inside, target the P paragraph. The font size was 20. We can set it font size to be now what? Maybe 14 pixels, right? Then you go back and then we reduce it to 320 and below. You see that it also what goes smaller. See, it also what reduces. Look at, look at. And when I'm 600, look at how it is. Understand? So that's what normally we call media queries. We use to control the responsiveness of the website. What you see, the viewport, what you see. If you increase based on the settings that you did, and here too, even if you want, you can make it twice. You can say you want it to be minimum, like it says 600 and above, and you can make it twice. And you can say it says 600 and above, and you can say when it reaches what? So instead of maybe using this, I can just copy this and make it the same thing so that it will apply. Then I can take all of this out. Let's see, the background was this blue, right? Right. And then I can add all of this inside. Right? But let me not do that. But I just wanted to show you that you can do something like that. You can make it twice. So maybe if I say at maximum width, and then I say maybe since it's what this is what minimum width, it is 600 and above, right? So maybe I can say 600. So if I say maximum width, it will also start at 600 and below. Understand? But if I don't want any confusion, I can just set it to what 599. So it will be like it will start from 599 and what and below, right? So when it is 320 and below, so it means that at 600 and above and at 500 and below, until it reaches 320, it's still what the background should still maintain to be blue. But when it reaches 320, which is lower and lower than 320, the background should always be red. The font of the H1 should be 20 and the font of the paragraph should be 14 pixels. So that's what we normally use responsive design for. Yes, sir. So even here, if I said here, when it comes to this is H1, right? When I reduce it like this, you see it is reduced. I can also hide it. So for instance, here I change the what? The H1 to what? To have 20%. I can also come here and say I don't want it. I don't want to show the H1 when I'm in small screen. So I can say maybe hide it. So I can say display and I say none. So H1, when I reach 320, H1 will be hidden, will not show. So let's see. You see, what happened? So we see that I have when I'm above 611, the H1 is there, right? It is there. I look at when I go down to 320 and below, you see that the H1 is gone. The H1 is hidden, right?
Yeah.
So that is mostly what responsive design is. It's not something difficult. You just know how to what to use these things. You notice that this is the same thing as we are doing it. So this is normally what we are doing. You just need to
Yeah.
just make sure you add at media query what at media, right? And you just if you want, you can see some people writing screen, but if you want, you can do it. If you don't want to, you can just leave it like that. You just write that like this and write width, depending on what you want. If it's minimum width or what maximum width, you can write mean width depending on what you want. If it is what, let's say you want it to be the minimum width to be maybe 992 pixels, right? And then you come here and target which element are you going to target? Because normally you see the element you've already what selected here. So now you can ask yourself, which element do I want to target? If it is paragraph, you come in and say, oh, let me target the paragraph. And you say, oh, but when it is this, I want the color of this to be, maybe I will say color. I want the color to be what? This aqua, right? So when I'm at what? 992 and above, when I'm 992 pixels and above, the color of this what? This will change what to aqua. So let's see. If I go here, going 992 and above, you look at the color of this paragraph, this will change. 992 and above. I'm at 990. You see the colors change, right? Are you following?
Yeah.
See, when we are above what 992 and above, you see that the color has changed because we set that the 992 to be a minimum. You see, we set it to what mean with
Mm.
992 being a minimum 992 and above.
Mm.
To always take the reverse of it. Whatever you're writing, if it's a mean, the number should what that number, and if it is mean, should what that number and above. If it is maximum, that number and below. So put this in your mind; it will always guide you, right? And
Yeah.
there's also another trick here, or another easy way that they use nowadays. You can make it if you are from the mathematics side. Instead of writing minimum and maximum, which normally confuses you, you can just say maybe you want it to be the width should be, I think is you can write greater than maybe 992 pixels, right? If I'm mistake, I think if I think normally they write it like this, right? Let me look at if I can check that and then give it to you. And less than and greater than yes. Yeah. Let me see if I can get the correct way of writing them. Let me see if I can get the correct way of writing them because okay. Okay. You see all the print and the screen. Yes. Okay, I can see them. Okay, this is the print one. You see, this one is for the print. This one is for the screen. So you can write two of them, screen and print. So you want both of them to apply on both the screen and print. Right? You see, this one is one. You can also use this same thing. This one is orientation. You see, sometimes you can have portrait and what landscape is also part of it. So this is what I was trying to look at. I think it's the same thing, width and then less than or equal to. But I don't know why it wasn't giving me. Okay, let me look at this. Look at this way. Okay. I wanted the, oh, is the other one. Okay, so let's take it this way to be like this. I think it's this. Yeah. So for instance, even if I don't want, so you can just use this thing, which should be less than, maybe let's say 992. Oh no, let me make it greater than 992. So this one, it's easy for you, right? So if you use this one, it will be easy for you. You don't have to think whether this is minimum and you reverse it or maximum and reverse it. You can just use this one if you are from the mathematical side. You know, this one is greater than, right? So if
Yeah.
your width is what? Is greater than 992, going, meaning from 992 up to above, so it tend to this color. So maybe I can change this to this color so that let's look at it. Okay, let's look at it. Let me go to 992, 992 and above, right? Because you see the color has changed, right? Maybe you didn't see it clearly. So let me change even the background color to be white so that you can see it clearly. Background color is white and this. Okay, so let's look at it. So when I'm above 992, look, I'm going 977, 983. You see the color change,
Yeah.
right? So if you think that this thing maybe using minimum, maximum will confuse you, just use this one. Less than, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to. You can just use this and play with it. Understand? So that is how media query works. I don't think it's difficult. As I told you, just sit down and continue reading it. It's just easy for you. This one is the same thing. They use the span, for instance. Let me show you. You see how they use it here. You can read it from this. But the main important thing is the media query. This is what, normally this is how it looks, right? But at different size, so this one is 745. But at 600 pixels, minimum width meaning at what? 600 and above, right? So that's why you see it like this. But when I go down here, look at what happened. You understand? But when I increase it, 600, and then you see it changes, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So what does it mean? It means that when it is at 600 and above, minimum is 600 and above. When it is 600 and above, the grid area will take the first and span 6, right? So that's why you see it. You take the side and span 6. That's not. Look at it. But when you reduce it, it goes to what? To one column. And when it is more than 600, it uses span. So you can also use that, the grid area that we learned, to add this stars to it. Yeah, you see. So these are the breakpoints, as I told you. Understand? Where the things break is normally what we call the breakpoint. So these are some of the examples that they give. Understand? So there are tons of screen and device with different height and weight. So it is hard to create exact breakpoint for each device. To keep things simple, you could do a target 5 groups. So that's what I was giving you this example. There are a lot of them here. Like here, there are like 5 of them now. So in order for you to say, I'm going to design a website to fit all of these 5, it's a lot of task for you. You understand? So they said if you just want to be simple, just use this one. You can just target this breakpoint, because this is the normal viewport or normal screen size for most of the devices. Because you cannot create a website which can fit all the devices. Like you want to create a website for your wristwatch. You want to create a website for a tablet. You want to create a website for a phone. You want to create a website for a desktop. You want to create a website for bigger screen. It's not possible to do all of that. You understand? So the best way is what? To just focus on some of them. Maybe if it is 3, you target 3 of them, or maybe 4 of them. And so mostly maximum is at least 3, from 320, that is the lowest, to like 1,200. You understand? So like here the target 600, and the meaning this 600 is from 600 and below. So this 600 covers from mobile phones, which has even the landscape one, the portrait one. So this covers those, right? And then the one which was 600 and above will cover the laptops, the tablet, right? The tablet and above, right? And then those with 768 will cover some of the tablets, right? It also covers some of the tablet and those with landscape, right? And then when you go to the desktop, you can have some of the laptops, and then what the desktops will also take this screen. And then the above, or the biggest one, will take the desktop itself, and the other screen, the largest screens. So if you want to be simple, you can just follow these steps, understand, and just use them. These are not something you have to be writing. It's not just choose this, and then inside this you write the normal CSS that you normally write. You understand? So that is what it talks about. You see? So it changes based on each screen. So if I try to reduce based on the screen, the background color changes based on this screen. It changes. So when I go like this, changes, 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 changes. You understand? So based on the size that you set it here, the background color, each of them changes. So you see, for the screen orientation, as I told you, you can have what? Landscape. Understand? Like if you are using your phone and you turn it like in a horizontal way, that is what we call landscape. You understand? You can also look at that one too. So you see here, you see display none. So it means at what? At 600 and what below, this div shouldn't be seen. It should display none. like this. So 600 and above, you go, right? For 600 and below, let me see, it's maximum, okay, 600 and below. You see that the green is gone. Yeah, the yellow is gone. It's here, but at 600 and below, it's gone. So that is the same thing. You can also change the font size using the same thing as we did. You can use it to also have a reduced motion, to have some animation and transition. Like this one, you see how it is now. You understand? So based on the size, you see now it is not what? Doing any transition. But when I reach some place, it will do some transition at which, let me see, at media query, motion, mission, and important. Understand. So normally it's up to you to just work on to read. It's not difficult. It's just something easy. You just have to sit down and look at it. So what does the media rule allow you to do? Final question. Let's look at here. Here we add CSS. Here we are just telling the screen here at this, but at the end of the day, we add CSS here, right?
Yeah.
So you are adding CSS using a condition, which is this. So it's a simple way is that you are saying that do something. You are saying that, okay, apply this CSS when this what condition is met. Understand?
Mm.
Like you are saying that buy something, maybe you will not go to school when what it rains, right? It's the same thing. Like you are saying, I'm not going to go to school when it rains. Understand? So apply this color and background when this 992 is met. That's the simplest way. So that's what we are doing. So you see, include CSS if a certain condition is met. That's what the media query does, right? So I think I'll leave you here for today, because all these are, maybe we just go through a little bit when we meet again, because they are the same media query, but they are using image to show you how you can change the image when you apply media query, and video and framework, and they also give you some templates. So I like some template for you to actually look at, you see. So most of the website, you see that they will give you something like this. It means that they can design a responsive website for you. You understand? They are telling you that be both mobile, laptop, and then desktop or laptop and tablet, they can design any of this thing design for you. You see, it looks nice. You see how it is. So that is what we call responsive design. You
Yeah.
see. So I will leave you for today. Then we shall meet and Monday.